So let's get to the provocation, shall we? With that, I would love to bring to the stage Alice Tuan, who is the head of writing for performance at my alma mater, California Institute for the Arts, and a playwright and just a generally awesome person. Alice Tuan.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you, Terrence and LA Stage Alliance, for making this event happen. Very nice. So we're talking about our dreams for the performing arts in Los Angeles. And my dream actually came true last month. So I'd like to start with this dream that came true. It was a dance piece called Red Line Time. I don't know if any of you have heard of it. It was choreographed by Stephen Koplowitz, who is a site-specific choreographer. And it was commissioned by the Goethe Institute. And what happened was, has anyone been on the Red Line subway? Yes? Okay, so all 14 stations, Stephen Koplowitz choreographed a dance, either in the station or just outside the station. So I just, it was like, come, it's going to be like a 3-hour piece, because you see the piece and then you're kind of traveling on the subway to the next station. And I actually went with my sister and my little 7.5-year-old nephew, Julian, and it was like, okay, we'll go to 4 or 5 stations. And so you start at Union Station, and he had 8 dancers that kind of started right in the corridor, like you go down that big long tunnel. So it was just kind of great to be in Union Station to be ready to travel with the show. And so the dancers started, and it had very nice kind of like, there was like clock-like movements. There was like, my nephew was very impressed with how everybody could get in line without counting, They get, he's like, when we line up in class, it takes forever for us, but they can just get in line without counting. And so what was kind of remarkable from the get-go was there was no music. It was actually the sounds of the subway. And the sounds of people kind of traveling, and even, a baby crying, someone with a coughing fit. But there was something about that was just like so nice to kind of see this kind of organized, very beautifully rendered movement within all the chaos. And then the whole audience would go with the dancers, follow the dancers to the subway, and just kind of, be on the platform and wait for the train, get on the train, and just, we're going to the next stop to see the dance. But then slowly you just finally get a chance to kind of be in the city. Los Angeles is a great city. I think it really is the American city of the 21st century. In the way that New York was the 20th century American city, in the way that Europe had a huge influence. We're this mega city that has Latin America and Asia, all those influences and perspectives on top of all the other nationalities that are here. So I really feel like LA is ascending, except it's not organized like a traditional city. It doesn't have one center. It doesn't have a user-friendly grid. It doesn't have public transportation where you can just kind of go, arrive in Los Angeles and then just find your way around. It's not like that. It's kind of an anti-city. It's kind of naturally postmodern. It doesn't have one center. It has many centers, and usually it's like these patchworks of suburbs that have like a center, like usually the mall is the center. Lots of centers. But also recently, like farmers markets have been cropping up weekly. They suddenly become like a temporary center, or even food trucks that arrive become a temporary center on a street corner. So there's something about Los Angeles that's kind of constantly shifting, and it doesn't operate as a usual city does. And I think that my dream for performing arts is that it embraces what the city is in all of its kind of weirdnesses and its fragmentations, that is embraced. And so, continuing on the Red Line, we would follow the dancers, and then we would actually be in the subway station. And with the dance, there were great dance, but you also just see constantly people flowing in and out. And the great moment, and I love this, every moment, it's like people would come in, you know, with their workaday, you know, habit, and then suddenly see this thing and the discovery on the face. The constant seeing and witnessing of discovery on their face was just amazing. And some people would not even discover it, they would just walk by. But there was this constant traffic of, oh, discovery, or I'm just gonna get to my place, or, but there was something about the movement. So one particular stop that I remember, it was outside of the 7th Street Figueroa station. And so they were kind of going up and down the stairs, and it was really interesting because they would have their dance, but then they would have little moments of improvisation. So a dancer could like suddenly step up on the railing and jump, or there was a kind of a little metal, kind of the gateway to the undercity, that someone would suddenly jump on and would make this sound, this crashing sound. And the best part was that there was this homeless man who was like pushing this trash cart with the cigarette dangling from his mouth, and he would just like push right into the middle of the city and in the middle of the dancers, and just be there and just kind of look around and just like be a part of the performance. That was just gorgeous. It was just gorgeous. Another memorable thing was at the Vermont station, there was construction happening. It was also outside the station. There was a construction project happening. And I didn't really notice it. The sounds were coming from the construction, but it was like people were kind of, the dance was here and people were kind of constantly answering. So it was the witnessing of like people going, oh, there's a dance, and then continue on, or oh, and then joining in. And then there was this one guy that was kind of limping, that just kind of, so there was this movement happening, and just like that juxtaposition was really interesting. The thing was, across the street at the construction site, there was a construction worker who was on like the 5th level of the construction site, just like leaning there, just watching from a bird's eye view the dance. So it was really magical, and actually we ended up being so fascinated by it, went to all 14 stations, that ended up in City Hall with the City Hall in the background and the dancers coming on. So that's a dream come true. A couple of things that I would love that haven't happened yet. I am up at Cal Arts, as Terrence mentioned, and there's something about a monorail from Cal Arts to Red Cat. That would be fantastic. City commissioners, transportation board, but there's something about being able to have city folks take this monorail. It doesn't have to be super express. It could just be like a Disneyland ride, and go up to Cal Arts and seeing your work. Just seeing your work in all its forms. It's a little messy, you know, sometimes you see gems, sometimes you just see stuff that's just getting up on its feet. But there's something about seeing stuff in process and being able to just kind of respond to it like, oh, I see what the potential might be, you know, it does work, it doesn't work, this aesthetic did match or didn't match. On the other side, for Cal Arts students to be able to go and engage in the city, like just to have that transportation. We have so many people, we're so isolated up there. So many artists, young artists, to be able to just make it downtown. And best of all, the conversations that would happen on the ride up and on the ride down. And so in a way, the monorail might not happen, but we have our cars, which are moving salons. We can carpool to performance events and talk about them. There's something about the talking of the culture. I mean, we are an isolated city, which is great for focus. It's great for self-determination. It's great for narcissism, but it's not great for community. So there are just these little bits of caulking that will allow us to really see the city, is my dream. Thank you.